from Southern Maryland's weather leader. This is a JB Weather Alert.
Hello and good evening. I am forecaster John Bordash with you in the JB Weather Center this evening, continuing to track the latest updates and the latest information coming in with our mid-season but it's our first real snow event across the Mid-Atlantic in just about 2 years. And it's kind of wild to think about the last time that we saw an inch of snow at Reagan National Airport was 2 years ago tomorrow. So talk about timing. We are almost exactly 2 years since our last widespread snow event. And sure enough, we are looking at snow moving in across the region. We've seen snow off and on throughout the day. We saw a period of snow this morning, a little bit of a lull through the afternoon. And now we've seen the snow pick back up really over the last few hours, kind of starting around about 1 or 2 o'clock. And since then, we've seen snow start to grow across much of the region. However, snow continues to be focused from about DC Point southward. Granted, it is starting to edge up a little bit towards Baltimore, as we see here on William Richmond Inc. HD radar. Pointed here on the numbers there show you our current temperatures. And to kind of help simplify things, let me bring us on over. That is not what I wanted. Bada boom. Let's go ahead. I want to take the radar off here for just a moment and get you a look at what our current temperatures are showing across the region. So let's bada boom, and voila, I believe this would be it. So this is a look at those temperatures right now. We sit at 32 down towards Lexington Park, sitting at 30 in DC, 28 on up towards Baltimore. Areas further north like York and Harrisburg sitting in the mid-20s right now. So there is plenty of cold air, and if we zoom out, we can see this cold air is just filtering here from the north and west. We even get some black readings up here. It's just to note temperatures getting below zero, so we'll need to fix that. But that just gives you a general idea. There's plenty of cold air. The issue with this system is not going to be a lack of cold air like we've seen so far this year. What I do want to show you additionally, if I can get this pulled on up, voila. All right, so that's that radar image. But if we zoom out here, what we can see is we have an entire swath here of snow and winter weather that is moving through the mid-south, beginning to move here into the mid-Atlantic, and we are seeing all of this move from the south, from the southwest to the northeast. And where we sit, and let me start to clear this here just for a little bit, what we see right through here is going to be that overnight batch. And the question really is, do we fill this in a little bit more? We can see there's a little bit of dry air sneaking in there, like right through here, right? Can we get this to move overhead right before we hit sunrise? And also, how much does this dry air to the south start to eat up and move northward? It will eventually win out. We will just need to wait and see how long that takes. I will say that the snow we've seen so far today has been, a little bit more than even I kind of anticipated. Many areas have picked up a nice ½ inch to an inch of snow across the region, and that's probably going to continue. Starting to see some questions on what are we going to see in my backyard? Are we going to see schools closed? Let's get right to that. Winter weather advisory remains in effect, and I believe this was just extended until 8 a.m. tomorrow, so adding on an extra hour. But on up towards Frederick and Baltimore counties and Maryland, that goes until 10 a.m., and then on up towards PA, that goes until noon tomorrow. So several areas with different timing, but by and large, the headline here is still the same. A couple inches of snow likely as we see snow move overhead. We're still holding on with this forecast of a general 1 to 4 inches of snow. You're going to see more like 2 to 4 inches of snow from I-95 points north and west, and that goes there into Pennsylvania. And I wouldn't be shocked on up towards Frederick or York or Lancaster or parts of Baltimore County to see some isolated 4 and 5 inch amounts. That is definitely possible up that way. Here in Southern Maryland, we're talking 1 to 2 inches for many zones, especially when you get south of about Lothian and Indian Head. Light snow, we've already seen that, and many areas are already at that first inch. We'll be able to add on an additional inch that remains to be seen. I would expect snow to continue here for the next several hours, and I'll show you that future cast here in just a second. Light snow, and we could also see some ice start to like get in there a little bit. We could see some sleet and freeze rain. And let's kind of time this out and talk this out here with our future cast. Let me show you what it is I'm looking at. Future cast shows that by 8 o'clock, we're taking a look at widespread snow across the region. That blue represents snow, green would represent rain, any pink would represent that icy mix, but not showing up here as we head towards 8 o'clock. Still looking at that widespread snow. Moving us forward, we see that by about 10, 11, 12 o'clock, maybe we start to get into a little bit of that dry slot. And we've always forecasted this, right? Now, if that dry slot can fill in over southern Maryland, then yeah, we would start to see totals that exceed what we are currently forecasting, that 1 to 2 inch amount. Playing this forward, though, we see not much going on outside of northern areas in terms of snow. I will say that our Cedar Point Federal Credit Union Futurecast is the only model I have that is doing it to this degree. Many of my other models are showing widespread snow continuing through sunrise tomorrow. What this model does do is show the potential of maybe a little bit of an icy mix. You can see that there by that pink, potentially moving in by about 6, 7, or 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and that would be on top of any snow that falls. So continuing that idea of an icy mix, but a lot of this is getting out here as we start to approach lunchtime tomorrow. Let's take you back on over a general look at impact timing. Snow has been going on, primarily focused on southern zones so far this afternoon. That snow becomes widespread this evening, and it already is beginning to do so, and it could be picking up a little bit of intensity. Maybe we have some moderate bands moving on through, and snow is focused much more so towards the north as we head towards the morning hours. However, we're going to be looking at some mix of sleet and maybe a little bit of freezing rain trying to squeeze into parts of St. Mary's and Calvert counties. But all of this does come to an end as we approach lunchtime. I know you see right there, travel, numerous slick spots. What must that mean for schools? And this was that school odds forecast I had posted back this morning that only really got attention this afternoon. But I'm anticipating widespread closings for many areas along the I-95 for many districts here in Maryland and Northern Virginia. I believe Frederick County, Maryland schools have already closed for tomorrow. Fauquier County schools are already closed for tomorrow, as well as areas on up towards Winchester. So some Northern Virginia schools beginning to close, some Northern Maryland schools beginning to close. Areas that are shaded in red, I would expect at least a 75% chance of a closure. Areas shaded in orange, this of course includes Calvert and St. Mary's County, and then kind of my backyard too on up towards York, PA, where we're looking at delays being likely. I'd expect an 80% chance of a 2-hour delay for those counties in orange. But you got a 50-50 shot at a closure as well. It's really going to come down to how much wintry weather do we actually see. Right? We're not talking about a lot of snow. By and large, we are talking about a general 1 to 2 inches of snow, maybe locally higher totals as you get close to I-95. The issue, though, is kind of twofold. The timing and the cold temperatures, right? The timing isn't looking the best. Snow should be ending by sunrise. However, temperatures are cold enough that anything that has fallen today is sticking, and anything that will fall additionally is going to stick as well. That means we're going to be looking at numerous slick spots, both on back roads, secondary roads, main highways. That's going to be an issue. The cold weather yesterday kind of helped to feed into that, and then the cold weather we've seen today. So numerous slick spots, especially if we see that additional sleet and freezing rain across the region. Tomorrow, temperatures aren't getting much above freezing, and we're actually seeing a reinforcing shot of cold air Tuesday night that might end up being the bigger story as wind chills get down near 0 Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, though. But this is that general look at what we're taking a look at. I do see a couple of questions wanting to know what I think the Friday potential looks like, and yeah, snow is possible Friday. Much too early to talk much about it aside from saying snow is possible Friday. Amounts or impacts or certainties, we're too far out to give you that, and anyone that is giving you that is kind of, taking a guess there. But lo and behold, a broken clock is also right twice a day. But yeah, that's a general look at what we're taking a look at right now. We have plenty cold air overhead, and if I show you that future cast one more time, we can see and this is going to loop through a couple times, we're going to be looking at snow that moves overhead for the next several hours. The big question is, do we have a dry slot that tries to move on in? And we did just now get a brand new report of 1 inch of snow from California, Maryland, kind of breaking that snow drought we've been in for the last 2 years, which is nice. What I do want to do while I let current futurecast loop on through is I want to show you what a couple of our other models are hinting at. And our other models are starting to hint at the potential maybe for a little bit more snow, which I don't think many people would be upset about, but some I'm sure probably would be. So I want to give you that kind of twofold approach here to the forecast to really show you what it is we're looking at. I want to show you my North American model here that gives you a look. It tends to overdo precipitation as a whole. With that said, though, so far it's kind of been dead on with what we're taking a look at. Oh, a couple questions about the goldfish. Goldfish are open. We've been already snacking on them a little bit. The goldfish is here. So several people wanted to know, JB, does it mean anything special that you have colored goldfish instead of regular cheddar goldfish? All that means was that my local giant was out of normal goldfish. I did not want to get flavor blasted. That's a bit too much for my palate. But I want to take you on over to my North American model, and those of our lesbian followers, you're right there on the map. No question about where you sit. There you go, just went away. But yeah, Futurecast sitting right about now, pretty dead on, right? Showing snow area-wide. As we push this forward, though, 6, 7 o'clock, snow continues area-wide even as we head towards 8. Then we start to see this little bit of a dry slot right here. Does this actually exist? Does it not? Only time will tell. And we see radar starts to fill back in. This model starts to get a little bit excessive with the potential of sleet and freezing rain. That would be denoted there by the pink. Still not expecting much in the way of sleet and freezing rain, but something to monitor. We see another dry slot try to work in here through parts of Tidewater, Virginia as we head towards midnight. But the general theme here of snow definitely being focused up to the north with maybe a little bit of a wintry mix further south. We see that this model definitely tries to hold that on. Periods, this would be snow and sleet mix as we head towards 5. I mean, schools typically make the call to close by 5 o'clock, and if this is your radar image at 5 o'clock, I think we know what that says for what school districts should, in theory, be doing. Moving this forward, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. This model keeps periods of snow and sleet overhead even as we approach the lunch hour. This model, again, is very different from what our in-house model is doing, right? This model has much more dry air. It has that precip getting out as we approach sunrise. The other model I just showed you keeps snow around and sleet around through midday tomorrow. So lots of data to take a look at. Saying a couple different things, but again, that's a general snowfall forecast. Published it this morning, and quite honestly, this was the forecast I published yesterday. Not much changed here. If anything, I brought that trace to 1 inch line just a little bit further north, but even still, it's only because we're going to see an additional bit of sleet potentially down towards St. Mary's County, but we're looking at, what should be a pretty decent first winter event across our region, and sure enough, that's what we've seen thus far today across the region. Taking you back over towards our interactive William Richmond Inc. HD radar, we can see here just where that snow sits. And if I take the precipitation typing off, what we can see, and this gets a little minute, and actually what I want to do is take you on over to this version of radar. This is our sensitive version. If we take this off, we can see that radar right now is trying to pinpoint 2 areas of potentially heavier precipitation right through here and kind of right through there. So with those in mind, let's turn the snow mode back on, and you can see where those lines very nicely kind of are. So this is where we're seeing some of that initial snow banding here through parts of St. Mary's and Calvert County on over towards parts of Charles County. These, again, will begin to live to the north as we head throughout the evening. So this is not going to be a purely Southern Maryland snow event. With that said, though, nice little bit of action early on that gives the impression that this is one of those historic southern sliding snowstorms. I just show you what we have going on down here to the south and west. This is going to be that overnight batch of snow that has to move its way here to the north and east. Many 7-inch reports, 8-inch reports on out towards parts of Tennessee. So yeah, that's that general look at how things currently are. And I'll bring it back on over to a regional snowfall map for those of our more regional followers starting to tune in. Let me see, my other sister is tuned in. Hi, Carrie. Wanting to know how much snow we're taking a look at here in central PA. I think where we are in Mechanicsburg, we're looking at a nice 2 to 4 inches of snow. Now, down for my York, PA followers, probably a little bit more down that way. Maybe closer to that 4-inch or maybe even a 5-inch report could be possible down there. The one area I would be very interested in to see a potential overperformance here, and let me clear our screen just for a moment. My area of potential overperformance with this system is going to be north and west of DC. It's going to really be right through this zone. This is where I would be interested in seeing a potential, kind of looks like a baguette almost. I would say this would be the region if we're going to see any isolated 5-inch reports, it's going to be in this zone. And again, maybe even some isolated 6-inch reports. And this is where impacts will definitely be the highest as we head through the day. I do see a question coming in from Twitter wanting to know if I think Montgomery County, Maryland schools will close. Let me go ahead and bring back up that school odds forecast from earlier today. Montgomery County got shaded there in red. I think closings are definitely likely. And yeah, I see Wesley asking if we don't see that dry spot in St. Mary's County, could we see locally higher totals? Potentially. I mean, that would definitely not hurt the prospect of seeing more snow in parts of St. Mary's County. That's definitely something we will need to monitor. What our modeling, I think what I want to do, and Wesley, I think that was your report in my system that showed 1 inch of snow. And I see Donna saying pretty good snow down there in parts of Lexington Park, and that is exactly what radar is showing us right now. If I take you on over here, this is what one of our models, it's actually the one I just showed you not too long ago, does in terms of snow totals. This would be additional snow, right? So it shows maybe the potential for an additional inch or two of snow on top of what you already got. So Wesley, for you over here towards California, that could potentially get you on up towards a 2 or a 3-inch amount. But you can kind of see that region I was highlighting as the one to be on watch for. If we're going to see locally higher totals, it's going to be right through here, I think. If we see any isolated 4-inch to 5-inch plus amounts, I think it's going to be in that zone. I do see a question about what I think Carroll County will get. I see another question about Charlestown, Virginia. And I was actually not privy to the fact that JB weather is popular on out towards West Virginia. There's apparently a whole contingency there of JB weather followers. But yeah, Carroll County, we're looking nice 2 to 4. Charlestown looking like a nice 2 to 4. Charlestown, I wouldn't be surprised if you're closer to that 4 as well, with the colder temperatures hanging on just a little bit longer on out that way. Yeah, so that's a general look at where things currently stand. I'll be here throughout the evening continuing to track things for you, but I want to give you one last look at what radar currently looks like and what it is I'm watching right now. If we bring you, bada bing. I see my principal is joined. Howdy, Mike. East Prospect, PA, 2 to 4 inches. If you would like to close school, you have one teacher that would be very happy about that. And I could think of a few others as well. Let's take you back on over here towards William Richmond Inc. radar. This is, again, that general view of what we're talking about right now. There's heavier bands of snow right now, kind of setting up right through here, and then you got another one right through here. Again, these are both working to the north, so those aren't going to park themselves over St. Mary's, Coward, and Charles County. However, these could put down a nice little half-inch of snow before they move too far to the north. So we'll continue to watch this as all of it plays out. All right. I think that about does it for us for right now. I'll continue to have updates: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, our the website jbweather.net, and sure enough, my students have also discovered the power of JV Weather's internet prowess and presence. So I'm sure you'll run into them as well. But yeah, have a nice and safe one. Stay tuned here to JB Weather for the latest information. I'll continue to keep you updated on what it is I'm looking at, any new trends, any new updates with the forecast that need to be pushed out. But again, general theme: 1 to 4 inches, 1 to 2 in southern Maryland, 2 to 4 as you head north and west of I-95, with moderate impacts that linger into tomorrow morning. And I'd expect widespread delays and closures, and yes, even on up towards York, PA. Have a nice and safe one. Keep it tuned here to JB Weather for the latest information, and I will continue to keep you updated.
Check the forecast anytime online at jbweather.net.